Cheds, welcome to F.A.C.E. I'm really looking forward to meeting you and having a conversation.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cheds. It's a pleasure to meet you. Appreciate you
Oh,
taking time to be with us today.
oh, it's my pleasure. It was nice of you to reach out. So I want to say thank you for that.
All right. Well, do you want to share your screen? Are you going to be showing any charts when we
I can
talk
do that.
more?
Yeah, whatever. Sure.
Okay.
I'll
Should
have it
we go
ready.
with should we be brave and go with cameras?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I can do a
All
camera.
right. Okay, we'll go with cameras too. So here you go. It's nice to meet you. You know, I've been to your YouTube channel, and I know a little bit about you. Besides a trader, you're an author. You've written a
Yeah,
couple of books, and you were the original analyst on Bitcoin Live. And you know what I'm interested in, and our audience is the journey that traders take to get from point A to point B. And I was wondering if you could jump into a time machine and take us back to perhaps your first gig in the industry.
absolutely. Well, once again, I definitely want to say thank you for having me here. And if you do hit that start video, I can, allow me to start the video. I can definitely join the party.
Okay, I don't. Yeah, Blake or anyone. I don't know my Ched's video. Let me see here. Mute, allow, put on hold. Oh, I don't know. I tell you what.
No problem.
I'll take my
Yeah.
mug off. All right, and we'll just talk charts here. All right,
All right.
there
All
we go.
right. So yeah, so once again, thank you. I've been trading for probably about 15 years. And for most of that, I was kind of chasing my tail. And in the early part of my journey, I didn't really have a plan. It was a lot of the buying the pump and selling the dump. It was
Yeah,
reactive trading.
yeah,
And through different markets. I actually started trading legacy markets because it was like, oh, I want to trade Apple. I want to be a big
right.
boy stock trader, so I started trading the real markets, but I did horribly at that point. And then I shifted over to the OTC penny stock market in like
Interesting.
12 and 13. And then there was the big marijuana stock boom back in
Yeah,
2014, and there was unbelievable liquidity in that space. And so I had some success and actually had some huge winners, but the reason I had those huge winners is I didn't know any better, and I just held on to stuff, and I didn't know how to take profit. And I had these huge winners, and then those huge winners turned into huge losers. So I wrote some trades, all the way up, all the way down. I got some great experience,
yeah.
and it
You
was
know,
frustrating. Yeah,
a great hold is really the toughest thing for me too, Cheds. A
yeah,
long-term hold, it's
yeah,
great to call a move, better to trade it, but the toughest part is the hold because you say, well, I could get out here and recommit on a pullback or sell the next rally, and you turn your head and then it's gone.
yeah,
What's your self-talk to stay in a trade? Someone once told me,
yeah.
and I think about it once in a while, they go, Dale, well, if you are not willing to reverse that position, walk away.
So, the way I approach it, I think about a thesis. And, when you enter the trade, you need to have a well-defined thesis because that allows you to exit the trade with minimal loss. So, your thesis is your reason you're entering the trade. The price is holding this moving average. So, maybe I'm more of a swing trader and I'm entering a trade because the price is above the 200 moving average and it keeps bouncing off of it. So, I
Yeah,
enter there, and as long as that's holding, I can, in theory, hold on to the trade. Profit
right,
taking, there's a lot of strategies. You can use a trailing stop loss where you move it
right.
up and you lock in a certain amount of gains. I'm kind of
Partials.
risk.
Do you
Was
take
that so?
partial profits?
Absolutely. I do take
Okay.
partial profit. And if I'm doing, I often have multiple positions as well, kind of in the same play, which allows me to kind of stagger those stop losses at varying levels. So I always kind of keep a little bit of a piece.
Right.
Rather than kind of doing the whole thing. So, that goes into the concept of kind of scaling in and scaling out of your position, being more adaptive and more agile as you do that.
How
But I'm
many
risk
years
adverse. I
would
don't
you?
like the whole. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I was just curious, because I asked this question, and I'm curious what your answer would be. How many
Okay.
years did it take you to make breakthroughs and become um, more consistent? Not necessarily, becoming rich, but having confidence in your trading to know that you could pull enough money out of the market to live on it.
At least 10 years for me.
Okay.
But I can tell you it would have been a lot sooner if I had started reading textbooks earlier in my career. And it really wasn't until I started to study classical charting. And then I went ahead and I did, especially CMT. I passed the CMT level 1. I'm studying for
Okay.
level 2. And that just allowed me to really understand trends and I realized I was playing against the trend. I kept trying to guess a bottom,
Yeah.
and I kept trying to short the first shooting star candle on a strong uptrend. I
Yeah.
kept kind of stubbing my toe. So it took me many years, and it really wasn't until, like I said, I started to study textbooks and to understand trends, understand momentum, and defining my risk. So it took me a long time.
The only thing we could control, risk.
That's it. The only thing you can control. And like controlling yourself is really hard too. I mean, you can be great
Yeah.
at identifying chart patterns, but if you can't identify your own emotions, your own feeling,
Yes.
like one thing I talk about is if you enter a position and you immediately feel uncomfortable, then you probably have too much money in that play,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So it's being
So
mindful of yourself and your own kind of your emotional needs and your own risk threshold.
is that in your book, the 50,
Yes.
50 lessons?
Yeah, that's in the lesson on emotional mindfulness. And a lot of these lessons just came from like things I realized about my own trading and all these mistakes I kept making. Even stuff I was doing like self-punishing. I'd be in a trade and I'd know like it was a bad trade, but I held on hoping I would take a loss so I could hope that I would learn the lesson, like trying to punish myself so I wouldn't, doing all these weird emotional tricks with myself. So these are all mistakes I made, and the book is trying to help other people avoid having to go through everything I went through to get to where I am today.
That's a great mission to help people avoid the landmines you've stepped on. Although most of them will have to step on them themselves for it really to, mean something to them. You could read things, but going through things, living through things, is what makes it more indelible, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100% right. It's 100% right. When you can personalize it and look to it, with your own experience, that's when then the lesson really starts to
Did
stick.
since you're a writer, were you journaling?
I do journal. I do
You
journal.
still do.
I
Okay.
still do journal because I'm still making so many big mistakes, and I'm trying to push myself to learn new markets. And you never really, hopefully, you really never stop learning. So I do still journal. Absolutely.
Okay, so why don't we talk a little bit about crypto?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it almost looks like a head and shoulders top to me, but you've identified this range that we're in,
Yeah.
this kind of rectangle here.
Sure.
If we break down here, what are the implications? Back to the lower band, or are those bully bands that you use?
So we're at a really interesting pivot point right now
Yeah,
because, and one thing I always like to say is a true chart technician can articulate both the bullish and the bearish thesis, right? No blind
great.
spots.
That's a
Um,
pearl.
and so what I see right now is I can draw you a weekly chart with an ascending triangle, with a
Okay,
pretty clear horizontal resistance, with that up
right.
thrust in November. And then I can draw the rising demand or the rising hypotenuse. I give you an ascending
Yeah,
triangle with a measured move to 100K.
yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
I can also give you a head and shoulders top developing with a trigger level with like, right around maybe 42, 43K. And I can give you a
Yeah,
measured move down to the weekly 200 moving average at 19,000. So
okay,
it
yeah,
kind of rests on this key moving average for me in the weekly chart, the 50 period simple moving average. And
okay,
if you look at the move and ever since it accelerated on that 14,000 break, back at late 2020,
right, right.
um, it's held it. And we tested in May, we tested it in June, we tested in July, we tested the area in September. We're testing it right now, and we're really in danger of losing it.
Yes. Yeah.
Your job as a technician is to identify the trend and then ride the trend as long as it's profitable. And while you're doing that, you're looking for signs of weakening. So, we have some signs of trend weakening, but oftentimes the best entries will come kind of when that trend is most threatened. So, I mean, it's such a critical point right now.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
It is such a critical level right here. And I'm curious because of the growth of the crypto industry and everything, if this could, everyone's trying to identify it as Bitcoin an inflation hedge? Is it a risk off hedge? Is
Hmm.
it what kind of hedge? Is it possible that if Bitcoin breaks down here, that it's going to have impact on the legacy markets?
I like to know my strengths and weaknesses, and it's one of those things where I'm like probably the wrong guy to ask that question to.
Okay, it probably anyone would try and answer that question. So
Yeah.
I you should
Indeed,
try,
indeed.
but I like to hear the ice crack. So I think about these things, and if this
Yeah,
happens, what's a correlated effect in different markets? So
yeah,
I was just thinking that maybe if Bitcoin, which is a sign of a new age and rampant speculation in
yeah.
altcoins and NFTs, and
Mm,
Melania's putting out an NFT, and
right.
all of these things that are getting all this hype. Matt Damon's making commercials, and
Hmm.
Tom Brady, if he didn't trade crypto, would be broke. So he's trading
Yeah,
crypto. So
right.
it makes me think that it might be set up for a cleansing because of all the
Hmm.
hype. And I'm wondering if that would spill over into legacy markets in some way as to risk off. Some people try and say that one of the reasons gold hasn't performed is because the new generations, the millennials, they go, well, why would you want to rock? Why
Yeah.
would you could, this is more portable, and the government and all their rationales for it. Do you believe that crypto siphoned off money flow from precious metals, and that's why up until recently they haven't been performing?
Yeah, I feel like I think that's pretty well agreed upon. And I believe we saw, there's a chart that came out in the last day or two. I saw like JC Peretz from All Star Charts
Oh
tweeted it
yeah.
out. And,
Hmm.
the idea of like the store of value market. And for someone like me who's not a great fundamental analyst, I try to be really good at what I do, a technical analyst. I do at least understand that you can argue that Bitcoin is a store of value, a digital store of value. It's a hedge against inflation. You know, I don't. That's maybe the full extent of what I know, but
Okay.
um, I guess it's got what 20% of the quote unquote store of value market. So yeah, it does make sense. I definitely would, and there's the idea of risk on and risk off, and definitely, people are using Bitcoin as a hedge. And I think it's true that it's taken away a little bit of the limelight from gold, no doubt. And that's why Peter Schiff's jumping in there and he's trying to straddle the line and kind of pretending to hate Bitcoin, but he wants the interactions from people on Twitter who are into Bitcoin, and he wants to still kind of be involved in the conversation. So I think they kind of go hand in glove right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Peter's kind of been one note musician. I just um, I want to know what you think about, a lot of people are now using crypto to have yields on their
Mm-hmm.
investment by
Mm-hmm.
staking new deals. A good friend of mine, Scott, was telling me about that. That builds the long-term case
Yeah.
for it really becoming an important instrument, because if some of these startups work, it's kind of like how the pink sheets and bulletin board stocks
Right.
used to be, only crypto, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend who's involved in really the early stage financing. And it's like one of those things where they invest in 30 of them, and the idea is that one or two really take off, and it will
I
pay
heard
for
there's
everything.
yields involved in it too. You also get paid like about 7%
Yeah, some
if
of
you're
these have the
staking it.
yields. Yeah, absolutely. And I was having a debate with some people. I interact with people through Twitter, and people ask me about a chart, and I say, oh, this one looks, doesn't look so good. Why are you in it? And they say, well, I have a yield, and I say, okay, well, I get that, because I have my own dividend portfolio, and
Hmm.
of course, I try to time my entries. I'm looking to buy dips in kind of uptrends. I'm not just trying not, I'm not just trying to buy the top, but the yields definitely help people to hold. And So it's almost like a mechanism within the industry itself, which helps. It's a self-preservation mechanism. It's an
Interesting.
incentive for people to hold and
Yeah.
to kind of keep it all going. So it's a good thing for,
7% in a
yeah,
yield-starved environment is pretty good, although I've been
it's pretty
taught the
good.
higher the yield, the higher the risk.
Hmm. Well,
That's
I'm
why
not
you
a,
get the high yield,
that's why you get
is
the
to
high
keep
yield.
is
Yeah.
to get you there,
Right.
to hang in
Yeah.
there. Okay, so are you going to what's going to be a trigger for you out of this formation? Do you need a close
Yeah.
or two? Intraday. I know in your experience you've seen so many false breakouts and breakdowns that turn out
Mhm.
to be good trades if you have the head to reverse. But tell us tactically how you're going to handle this Bitcoin chart, and if you have to go even shorter term, that's fine.
Sure. So, I mean, the idea of confirmation is an interesting topic because in classical charting, there's a lot of ways to do it. You can do one
Oh, that's
close,
something else I wanted to ask you. Was most
yeah,
of your influence in CMT, or were there other authors
yeah,
that kind of helped you make breakthroughs? Like, my
definitely.
Bible was Edwards and McGee, Technical
Mm,
Analysis of Stock Trends. I mean, you're going back, centuries. I'm kidding,
you're right. No,
decades.
you're not that far off. I mean, I started, for centuries. I started out with Nissen and
Okay,
candlestick analysis, which is rice futures from the 1800s or whatever. And I started with that, and then I went to Schaubacher and the quote unquote Bible or whatever of technical analysis. And that, reading those two, I was really got me going. It just opened my eyes and really made me want to kind of learn more and practice more. So it was Nissen and Schaubacher really got me started.
okay, yeah. Schaubacher is interesting because he takes a different side of on head and shoulders formations. They can be continuation formations. I
Sure.
was taught that they're reversal formations, but I've
Yeah.
seen them work. I've seen them work as continuation
Well, you know
formations as
what?
well.
It's
Right.
interesting. I think there's sometimes too much focus on naming a pattern and rather than just price relation to key horizontal support and resistance, because really that's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Keep it
Um,
simple.
You keep it simple, and that kind of leads me back to answering your question from a moment ago about how I'm dealing with the Bitcoin range. And I think we have to look at clear levels, and you think about momentum, and the broader trend is a primary bull trend on Bitcoin, and we're clearly in a secondary corrective phase right now. And the question is kind of when that either will continue or reverse. And one of the things you want to do is listen to the price, and you want to kind of look at the most obvious clues. You don't want to mess around trying to get too complicated. You want to look for the most clearly defined levels and use those levels to structure your risk. And
Right.
right now you've got a very clearly defined top of this range right around 52K, and the bottom of the range right around 46,000. And
Okay.
for me, if I want to be a bull, I want confirmation. So to be a bull, I need to be above 52, but I'm thinking more, 53, 53.5. We had an attempted head and shoulders reversal that failed
Yeah.
November 18th through December 3rd. And you had the invalidation on that right shoulder break right around, 55.5, but the head there was 53.5. So I take the head right around 53.5. That's the bottom of the consolidation cluster from August.
Yeah.
That's near the top of the macro lower high from September. It's a big zone, really 52 to 53.5. I want to clear that zone, right? I want to clear that zone. I'm above the MA50 in the daily. That would let me feel like I can be comfortable to get some risk, to kind of really would suggest to me bulls are kind of picking things back up.
Okay.
Um, downside, if I see a clear break of 40, this 46K zone, I'm looking right around 40 to 42K because that's been a really big level in the daily chart. The highs of January, lows of February,
Yeah.
and the highs of the 80-day rectangle from May, June, July. So
Okay.
I'm looking at these key horizontal levels. I'm not drawing diagonals and trying to base my trade on a diagonal throwback or something like that. I'm really trying to focus on clear horizontal levels, and I'm gonna let that guide me. One thing I would look for though, if I was, if I wanted to go long, is I would look for a spring, what's called a spring, right? A false bear break where you have a really well-established horizontal support level, which is broken and then
Right.
recaptured. And that would be an
Doesn't
excellent,
close under it. Yeah.
doesn't close under it and it's recaptured. That would be a great entry potentially. So a really quick sweep to like 42K and then boom, back up above 46K. Now we're talking about something. So maybe I'd look for that.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. We were having a discussion about crypto being still embryonic because you could go back to 2000 and Amazon peaked at $80 and went down to $2, and then went to 4,000. So, we were drawing comparisons that, maybe Bitcoin is like Netscape, which was replaced by Google. Are you on the lookout for up and coming stars in crypto that may replace the old guard that got the whole game rolling?
I leave that to others, my friend. I'm just
Okay.
price. I'm
Yeah,
price.
you're all right.
And
Okay.
I mean, I'm terrible with fundamentals, but I do
All right.
understand the scarcity of Bitcoin. So I know that's kind of what it has going for it, the first to market, all that good stuff. But I'm so bad at fundamentals. I believe everything will flow through price. If what you're telling me is important, I'll see it in the chart because I'll see that
I
price
agree.
relationship with support and resistance and momentum. So, and I tell people, and when I teach, I tell people, listen, you may have a better way, but I'm going to tell you what I know and what works for me. And hopefully that will help you kind of with your method. So
Okay.
I kind of,
Well, if you're a
yeah,
price action trader,
yeah.
why have you chosen Bitcoin to trade? And is
It's
it
so,
only
yep.
Bitcoin? Go ahead,
Oh,
Jets.
no. I trade anything with volume.
Okay.
And I do a lot of, on Twitter, I try to cover anything that's topical, anything that has action because I'm trying to help out other people and it helps me. It's symbiotic, I'm trying to grow my account.
Right.
I hold Bitcoin, I hold Ethereum, and then maybe for about 5% of my crypto portfolio, I'll trade,
I
right?
see.
And I'll
Okay.
trade whatever's hot. Luna right now, AVAX, Sol recently, just anything that's an uptrend. I'm looking for an uptrend and I'm looking to buy a dip in an uptrend, a clean throwback. I'm looking for something like that. Um, I'm looking to short kind of a weak altcoin that just had a bounce, something like that. So anything with volume is what I'm looking for. Anything,
Okay.
it's like if I'm going out to the club with my friend. I'm looking to meet a lady. I want to find the club with the most people, so I have the best chance. So I'm looking for volume and liquidity.
Okay. And if you get rejected by that lady, how do they
Yep.
treat your stops?
Well, I
Go ahead. Say you don't trade with stops.
oh, I definitely trade with stop. My
Okay.
stop is my thesis. When my thesis fails, I'm out. I am
But not
so
a hard
averse.
stop. It's in your head where your thesis fails, right?
No,
Or is it a
it's clear. I try to structure my trade based on a clearly defined horizontal level most of the time because I'm not a good trader. So I'm trying to make it easy on myself. I want to give myself a clearly identified fail point because I'm trying to live for the next trade, right? I'm trying to get my trade into profit as soon as possible. I'm trying to move my stop
yeah?
loss into profit as soon as
Okay.
possible. I want to get rid of my stress. I want to get back to playing basketball and gardening rather than watching, the 5-minute chart because I have some money in it.
All right. I want to learn from you right here. And you bring up you try and eliminate stress.
Yeah.
My oncologist, when I was going through colorectal cancer 6 years ago,
Oof.
told me to de-stress. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm a trader. That's my
Yeah.
livelihood. I don't know how
That's
I'm
a
going
tough
to
one.
accomplish de-stressing.
Tough one. Yeah.
How do you de-stress, Jeds? I mean, how
Yeah.
do you deal with this? Is one of the most stressful things you could choose to do, I think,
Yeah.
in the world. There's probably others, but this
Yeah.
is especially since it went 24/6. It wasn't as stressful in the old days
Mm,
before all these new instruments came on board, and
yeah.
FX is 24/6, where I could know the market's closed
Right.
and I didn't have to think about anything happening till the next morning. So, what's your self talk for de-stressing? Do you ever just
Yeah.
get flat and walk away for a while? Stop trading for a
Absolutely.
while?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm a fellow cancer survivor too, so I want to say
I saw that.
respect, respect to you
Yeah.
for that. Um,
Yeah.
I define my risk if possible. That's kind of the central point. I define my risk. You can't eliminate stress, but I try to do it. So I walk away. If things aren't work, I really am good at trying to monitor myself. And if I feel myself being negative, I know that my trade's not going to work out. I feel
Okay.
myself being negative. I know the trade's not going to work out, so I walk away and I just go play video games, or I'll go shoot basketball, or I'll
All
go
right.
do something
Can
else.
you dunk? Can you still get over the
No.
rim?
Oh,
No.
oh,
You
forget
know,
about it. No, no,
someone
no.
just commented on my thing about de-stressing. He said, "I think your surgeon would argue he has more stress than you, coach."
Yeah.
And
Tell me about it. Tell
I'm
me
sure.
about
I
it,
mean,
right?
with us, it's just money. With them, it's life and death
Yes.
all the time. So,
I try to be
go.
thankful. I try to, I try to practice it, or try to be I try to appreciate kind of what I have and the opportunities I have in life. So I try to
Yeah,
put things in perspective. After fighting cancer, like I don't take anything for granted anymore, and every day
yeah,
is a gift. So,
yeah,
um, I try to put that all in perspective, and that's helped me. Um, I've been really lucky in life, so that helps me kind of deal with the stress too. I have good friends, good family, and all that. So everybody's different. Some
yeah.
people, it's harder for other people to deal with stress because maybe they haven't been as lucky as I have, perhaps.
Well, yeah, I think everyone could find something to be grateful for. If you're just walking
Yeah.
around. I was at a doctor once, and some lady I said hello to, and I said, "How are you?" And she said, "Any day staring down at the grass is a good day."
Mm,
So,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
and my tagline is don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And I think everyone could find
Yes.
something to be grateful for. And I'm grateful that you granted us an interview and came to, share your views and your experience as a trader with us. And why don't you show our audience your books or your YouTube channel or where they could find you and
Sure.
follow you? That would be fine right now.
Awesome. Do you have that up, or what do we need to do, brother?
I do. So I'll take the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. And so here. Okay. So I have move this. Here's Chad's YouTube channel.
There you
And
go.
here's his book, Trading Wisdom. It's an Amazon #1 bestseller. Congratulations.
Thank you, my friend.
And
It's done
then
really
I'd
well.
like to, his battles with cancer that made trading kind of a walk in the park. Getting stopped
Yes.
out in the market is better than getting stopped out in the hospital.
You
So
sure know. So true.
I
So
really
true.
appreciate getting to meet you and encourage people to learn from others. I say this about experience: you can't learn it, you have to live it and go through things, but you can learn from the experienced. And
Hmm.
I appreciate you being here, and I learned from you today. So, Cheds, you made it through an interview with Dale Pinkert. You're now my trading warrior brother.
My man, I really appreciate that. It was very kind of you to reach out, so thank you for that.
We'll do it again, and good luck on whichever way Bitcoin resolves itself. I kind of think that I'm leaning towards some type of capitulation cleanse towards 20 and then back up the truck. So
Yeah,
we'll see
indeed.
what happens.
Either
The
way, we'll try to have fun. We'll try to have
tincture of
fun.
time.
Yes, brother. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, Cheds. Everyone,
All right.
that's going to be a wrap. Thank you for your attention. You know where to catch Cheds. There he is. Looks like he has a nice little setup there in his office. And as I said before, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And you could join the team in 15 minutes for the morning edge. And we'll see you tomorrow. Adios, and thank you again, Ched. People enjoyed it.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.